Okay, so welcome to the club leader training and for tonight. As usual, if at any time you have comments or questions, please feel free to just jump in. You put them in the chat. I will try to see the chat as well. I'm usually pretty good about that, but sometimes I kind of get on a roll talking and miss the chat. So if you see something and I'm missing it, please let me know. So with that, we're going to get on into today's training. So on the agenda for tonight is we're going to talk about 4-H presentation day. I have a date for regional days. The newsletter went out today with a lot of dates and different things happening, or save the dates on there, and there'll be a lot of things coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about clover buds because we're needing to grow our countywide clover bud program a little bit. So if you know of clover buds, we'll be talking a little bit about that. I'm continuing our 4-H Thrive discussion on Sparks and how you can become a Spark champion. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Kansas State Fair and Kansas 4-H has some new interior design requirements. That's what the new project name that used to be home environment. And so we might want to make sure that you have that. I will talk about animal and livestock requirements because we are getting ready to start having YQCA and different, weigh-ins and things coming. I wanted to go over the inclement weather policy that we have as a district and kind of talk about how you can handle that as a club. And I know hopefully it's too late. We won't have any more this year, but just to kind of give you a heads up on that. And then we do have some coaches that are trying to do some livestock judging. And so I want to let you know about that one. Okay, so starting off, presentation day is February 22nd at the Prairie View Middle School. We are going to do a setup at 8:15, and I would really appreciate any help you can get. So this could count as, if you can get there by about 8:15, this can count as part of your, it can count as a countywide committee, help at club days, all of those things, because that is on your PIN applications and your seal applications. So I'd like to have a good crew there to help set up. We used to do it the evening before, but it's hard to get people there either. So we don't have as many kids signed up this year, so we will not have as many rooms, and I don't think we'll probably be going as late unless it changes from what it is. So just to kind of give you a heads up. The contest will start at 9 a.m. I will probably have a judges meeting about 8:45. So, and sign up for times will be out by Monday. It might go out a little bit earlier on Friday, but we're going to see where we're at on that. So, and if you guys remember in the past, sign up for times is basically we take registration and we build out that, we have 10 project talks and they each need 10 minutes. And so, and then we will put 10-minute increments in that room for those project talks, and you can sign up for whatever time you want. So that will be coming out. So be sure to be looking for that email. It is a Sign Up Genius document that we use. And especially if you have somebody who is maybe needing a certain time, it would be good to get on there quick so you can get that time that you need. Okay, so regional 4-H presentation day is going to be, we're looking at March 29th at Shawnee Heights Middle School, which is in Topeka. So they said it was on the east side of Topeka. I know that's going to be a drive for many of us, but we've kind of started rotating it around, and so Topeka is probably about the farthest we'll have to go. But I want to give you a heads up on that, and hopefully all those purple ribbons or top purples will get to go on to that. That is one thing that I will emphasize, that top purple ribbons do go on, and we have alternate purples who can go on if one of the top purples cannot. So we will be picking those at our presentation day on the 22nd for the district one, and then they can go on to regional. All right, as I said, clover buds. We have a good group of clover buds, but they're kind of a small group, and so we're trying to grow it. We've been trying to get it out on community pages. But if you know of anyone who's that 5 and 6-year-old, I know some of your clubs do activities with it, which is awesome. But if you aren't doing activities with your Clover Buds, you might encourage any of those kids to come to our monthly meetings. They're a great way to explore 4-H, kind of learn about the different projects you can take, because we do a different project or project area each month. And they're always, we have two. So we have the Mound City one for the first Thursday of each month from 5:30 to 6:30, and the Paola one, which I have it as yeah, that's not supposed to be a one there. Sorry for that typo. Look over stuff and you still mess it up. But it's the second Thursday of each month from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Paola office. And the Mound City one's at the Lynn County Fairground and the Lynn County 4-H building. So, but it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of different things with it. I can't remember what February's topic is off of the top of my head, but I know we did foods here in January. We usually do arts, visual arts. June's usually our animal one. We bring in other 4-Hers who bring in their animals in to show the Clover Buds. We've done rocketry. We've done plants, usually in May. So there's something, we try to hit a majority of the projects in the 2 years. So if you know of anyone who has a 5 or 6-year-old by January 1st of 2025, encourage them to check out our Clover Bud clubs or Clover Bud meetings. Okay, so going on to the 4-H Thrive model and Sparks. So you guys have probably, I hope you all seen this before, because I know I've put it up a couple different times. And 4-H youth development, specifically at the national level, but definitely at the Kansas level, we're also doing it. Is basically, this is kind of what we want our 4-Hers to learn and to develop in 4-H. So we start down there with the very bottom, which is sparks, belonging, relationships, and engagement. And that's what we really do in 4-H. Those are the kind of our soil, the developmental context of our 4-H programs. So that's what you guys are doing in the clubs. You're, making sure that your kids feel like they belong. They're developing relationships. They're engaged in learning activities. Hopefully they're finding their sparks and figuring out what they're really passionate about. And then if they do all that, they go up and they start going up the flower model there, and they start having maybe a growth. They'll start developing growth mindset, be opening to challenges and all that. And then we hope by the end of their 4-H career that we get to that academic or vocational success. They're involved in civic engagement, their employability and economic stability. They have employability and economic stability, and they have happiness and well-being as well. So that's our whole effort. I'm going to you will probably see this on all of my leader Zooms for the next few years, as we kind of try to train everyone in it and get us to really be talking and using the terminology and trying to make sure that our programs are meeting the standards that we want for 4-H. So right now we're talking a lot about sparks. And do any of you remember what a spark is?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, I know not very many of us were on the November one, and it's been a while. So a spark is basically it's something that are passionate about. It's the things, your inner passions and interests, what motivate you and inspire you as you go. So a spark for me, as far as in my career, is helping youth. Probably a spark for most of you is that too, because you get joy out of seeing our 4-H members, grow and thrive and become young adults and go to college or get jobs, have families, all of those things. And that's, so that could be a spark. So a project can be a spark for some of our 4-Hers. Maybe being social could be a spark for our 4-Hers. So that's kind of what sparks are And they're really important that kids have those because that's what helps them develop self-confidence and self-reliance and different things like that, and move into those youth thriving um, options up the stem. So right now we're talking a lot about sparks, and I have a couple more lessons on this, and then we'll have in March will be our last lesson on sparks. So last time I kind of talked about the Venn diagram. You might not have, I might not have given you the Venn diagram, but we talked about things that you're passionate about and causes or issues that matter to you, people, places, or things that matter the most to you, and emotions that you appreciate about yourself. And if you kind of get all the way in the center of that, where all of those circles meet, that's really where your spark is. Sparks are the passions, abilities, and skills and strengths that um, are discoverable in all youth. They are a source of motivation, and they come from within a person. So it's not necessarily somebody pushing someone to do something, it's from within. Sparks often change over time. So, I might have, as a kid, I might have had a spark about foods and nutrition. Maybe I love to cook. But, maybe as I grew older, my spark changed and cooking wasn't as much fun and that type of thing. Sparks are deeper than activities. So it's not just like playing video games or watching TV, your favorite TV show. These are really, this is what where you really find joy in doing it, in learning about it. You have that insatiable wanting to know more about something. Those are the types of things we're talking about with sparks. Spark champions are like adults that can help youth identify and grow their sparks. And so, as 4 H leaders and myself as a 4 H agent, we want to become that spark champion for our youth. We want to make sure that we help them grow their sparks, find them, encourage them with their sparks, and do all that. And it is best to have at least 3 spark champions. So, you know, as we all know, it takes a village to raise a child, and this is where we're talking about it. We want to have 3 positive adult relationships that are those champions, and they can be older youth as well that can be champions for some of our younger youth in the 4-H way. But we want to have each kid to have at least 3 spark champions. So as you're talking about sparks for your kids, or you're even just talking with your kids about what they find joy, some things you want to avoid is using sparks as a label. So, you don't want to say basically it's a natural ability, talent, or attribute. You want them to feel good about developing that spark, even if it's maybe outside their comfort zone. Maybe it's not their natural ability. Maybe they have a natural ability over here, but this is what they really are passionate about. You also want to avoid excessive matching of sparks to career goals. It's okay to say a little bit about career goals, but you don't want to have them say, you don't want to have to say, well, that's your spark, you should go into this career. Because I will be honest, I have some things that I do just for me that I don't want to mix with my career. It's my downtime, it's my relaxation, it's how I de-stress. And, maybe that's the thing, that's what it is for them. Maybe they need to have a career outside of that spark. And then you want to avoid referring to a spark as something you're really good at. They may be passionate about something that needs effort and persistence before they're good at it. So you don't have to start out really good with a spark. You just have to have something you really want to do. So some ways we help youth find their sparks: help a young person feel comfortable exploring his or her sparks by acknowledging that some youth may already know their sparks, some youth may change their sparks, and while others need time to discover theirs. So some ways to kind of figure out what might be a spark for for our youth, is when a young person lights up and shows joy and positive energy towards something. Talk to a young person about what excites him or her. Ask questions like, tell me, what do you love to do in your spare time? Why? How does doing what you love make you feel? Listen carefully for a way to support that young person. Help youth find ways to practice their sparks, which is 4-H is all about that as far as projects anyway. And attend a young person's games, performances, and public demonstrations of her or his sparks. And that's how you kind of become a champion. Okay. So some conversation starters as you're dealing with our 4-Hers and even other adults, we can help them find or adult volunteers, we can help find their sparks as well. So this is comes from a resource for 4-H project leaders asking that timeless question: how do I get youth excited about the 4-H project I'm responsible for leading? There are no easy answers, but promising research published by Peter Benson of the Search Institute of Minnesota suggests that adults could be more actively, intentionally engaged in helping young people find their spark, or the inner passions and interests that motivate and inspire youth towards the path to thriving. First, here are some basic guidelines for starting this conversation in your project. So, sorry, I wasn't on the right one, but so can you hear me now? Youth adult partnerships require practice. Is it possible to take some more time to practice listening to youth as opposed to telling youth? In the project setting, project leaders are spark champions, or adults that champion the development of sparks in participants. Starting a conversation on finding one's inner passions and interests is just that, a two-way dialogue. Consider infusing individuals as well as group discussions into project meetings and events that have potential to help participants reflect on their sparks. So let's agree on something. Creating a safe space is critical for project meetings, especially while encouraging young people to openly talk about their dreams, hopes, and innermost aspirations. Consider devoting time during the first meeting or two to draft group agreements that the group designs and agrees to adhere to in order to ensure that meetings are a safe space for all members to share, discuss, learn, and grow. And when they're talking about that, we're talking about basically doing, so you're talking about, basically having some thoughts, like being respectful to others, listening when somebody's talking. Some of those basic things is what they're talking about when they say agreeing on a group agreement. And you can use these in your 4-H club meetings, even though I'm kind of talking project meetings and what I'm reading, the publication I'm reading from, it works with our 4-H club meetings as well. Remember your audience. Consider the personalities, abilities, ages, and stages of development in your project group. You may have 4-H members ranging from 5 to 18 years of age. Some members may be active participants from the very beginning. Others wait to feel comfortable enough to talk out loud. Project members shouldn't feel forced to converse, but should definitely be encouraged to engage and be involved, even if that means reserving the right to pass in the meantime. Sparks can look very different for such a diverse range of youth. Leaving the door open for an ongoing conversation can allow for a spark discussion to evolve over time. Try it out. Try and identify early indicators of something in your project that might be a spark for individual members. Start off sparks conversations with phrases like, "You could be really good at this. This looks like it makes you happy. It seems like this is something that really excites you." Don't be afraid to ask questions. Asking the right probing questions regarding inner passions and interests might help clarify exactly why a young person is drawn to a particular activity. For instance, an animal science project might appeal to a member's interest in entrepreneurship. A rocketry project might reveal a spark for problem solving, and a sewing project might be more interesting to a member for the opportunity it provides to teach and instruct. And take it to the next step. Lastly, consider ways to build concrete, intentional steps for members to engage with their spark more actively. Could a member that likes to teach be trained to take on peer leadership responsibilities for the coming year? Could a youth that has a spark for writing be engaged in spearheading the development of marketing materials for that project group? Also, think about posing the following types of follow-up questions directly to 4-H members. How can we as a group help you do more of what excites you? What part of this project or club is the most fun for you? What makes you feel like this? Okay, so that's a little bit about sparks. Um, the next time we meet, we're going to kind of talk about how you can make a plan for your club on how you might develop some of those sparks. So kind of be thinking about that. Um, sorry. As we are kind of ending that, so how can you see you using conversation starters that we just talked about, or some of the spark champions in your club?
We have a lot of new members this year. So we've really tried to find out what they're interested in. So getting to know the kids, finding what they like, trying to spark some interest, I guess. See what they're wanting out of 4-H. What can we help them type of deal.
Yeah, and that's and here's the thing: sparks are not really a new concept for 4-H. It's just a new phrase that we are using for it. Um, but we've been doing this for years. We've been having those adult partnerships, youth partnerships, and that type of stuff. So it's just really kind of intentionally making sure that you are talking to those kids, you're giving them a voice in their club, and you're doing those type of things. So does anybody else want to share about how you can see using your sparks conversations, or how can you engage your youth a little bit more, and to help find their spark?
Carla, this is Rebecca. I was just going to ask how they are talking to the 4-Hers. It sounds like it's kind of a one-on-one thing.
Well, I think you can do it in multiple ways. Um, it's kind of like sometimes when we set a leadership group in Miami County, and like when we were program planning, and everyone was kind of taking a turn and trying to make sure everyone was, if they wanted to say they could, that type of thing. But yeah, you can talk. Sometimes it is a one-on-one conversation. It might be, and it's not just going to be for you guys. I'm starting with club leaders right now, but this is for project
Mm-hmm.
leaders. This is for almost any adult volunteer in our
Mm-hmm.
program. So it's not just for club leaders to have to do, but that's who I'm starting with right now.
Sure.
But
Um, One idea that I just kind of popped in my head while you were talking about it was I have like a big long roll of paper, that you can use for like a banner.
mhm.
And I thought if the kids were invited up to come sign their name on it and maybe write their spark under their name or something. And then if we can identify something the kids said, then maybe we can have more of that one on one conversation with them. If there's like a leadership opportunity or something that way, I don't know.
No, I think that is a good
That
idea. Yeah, I think that is a good idea, and it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to be an overnight process. I don't expect you to
mm,
all know what the sparks are for all your kids right off the bat, but it's just something to be thinking about as you're planning activities for your club, making sure the kids are involved with those, and trying to make sure you are finding those sparks for our 4-Hers. So,
This is Jessica. I may have jumped the gun a little bit, but I put this on our agenda last time we met.
okay.
And just, we talked about it as a club, and I kind of explained to the kids how you explained it to us, and asked what they were interested in. And I had lots of photography. We want a photography class. We want to learn how to use our camera. We want to learn how to take the picture. We want some more visual arts classes. And then I had one kid that said he really was interested in welding. And those were the three that came out of that. And our club is really, really young. And we also have a lot of new 4-Hers. So we don't have a whole lot of parents who are comfortable enough in the in the programs to be project leaders. So I guess I don't know what I do next because like I don't have a photography project leader who will, have meetings on another day because my one parent who would be capable of doing that has like seven other different jobs and things that she's volunteered for and doesn't have the time. So like, is there somewhere to submit these and maybe we can get some workshops like countywide or district-wide scheduled, or is that something that's like down the road? I might be jumping the gun, and if I am, that's fine.
No, I have no problem with what you've done, because I think that's great. And I think that's where we're kind of going. Um, so we are planning a photography workshop. The other thing is, if you don't have club leaders and volunteers that can do it, and you can do these at your club meetings. I mean, it's up to you. You can do them separate from club meetings, but you can also have them during club meetings. You can bring in a photographer if you know a photographer in your that's maybe takes photos in your town or something like that. You can bring those into your
Okay.
and have them do that. As long as you guys are there as the screened volunteers, you can bring in guest speakers basically. So,
Okay.
I would try some of that. I will be honest, we did a photography workshop last year in June in Mound City. We are trying to do one in both. It went over really well. It was kind of a trial thing. We're trying to do one in Paola as well this year.
Okay.
Visual arts, we have those quite regularly. So yeah, the welding part's probably going to be the hardest. Because I
Right.
don't
Well,
really
and
have
I mean, if
volunteers for that either.
and right, and that would also maybe be a thing where like this guy is over here is really good at welding. Maybe we can hook parents up with that guy and maybe he can give some pointers or something. And if that's it, that's fine. And Tracy, I saw your question. Yes, I have a few older kids who would be able to help, but not like lead the project.
Okay.
And I
You
will.
might, Jessica, you might reach out to what we've done too is some of the photographers, like down here, we have several that do pictures. They're also 4-H parents, a couple of them are that have come and did kind of demonstrated and talked and one of them is going to kind of help us with our 4-Hers that are in photography. So I don't know if there's anybody around your area up there that.
I'm sure there are people that we could find, and that's a really good idea. I don't know why I didn't think to invite, outside people to our club, but we've never done that before as long as I've been there. Um, but that's an excellent idea. So thank you.
You're welcome.
No, this is great. And I want this to be kind of that group discussion. Feel free to, if you have ideas, bring them out, because that's what this is about too. So, anyone else have something that how they want to use their spark in their club, or how they can see this working? Okay. Well, I just encourage you all to think about sparks. If you want to share them with your club, what we're talking about with your club, please feel free to do this. That it's not, this is not a secret thing. We want our 4-Hers and our parents to understand what we're doing and why we're trying to do the things we are. So, this is the one step is sparks. We'll probably talk more about some of those other things down there in the soil. If you need like copies of um, the my little flower thing that you want to hand out, feel free to let me know. There are some videos available as well that explains what sparks are in our 4-H thriving model. So if you want to do any of those, let me know and I can help you out with that at your club meetings too. So, all right, with that, we're going to kind of change gears again and go back to some of the other things. So I will be honest, this is a major change, but I'm kind of excited about it because I can see this being one of those workshops. So interior design and architecture project, which used to be home environment, they are changing it. We used to have a lot of notebooks about, maybe changing the color of your room, or you would maybe make something for a room, whether, it's a stool, the basketball stool type thing, or maybe you turned something else into like a cooler thing, that type of stuff. Well, they're changing that at the state fair. And they're working with the Department of Interior Design at K-State and Architecture at K-State to kind of revamp this to try to get it to where what they're looking for in students, basically. So you should have gotten an email today from Amy Collins at the state, or else probably from 4-H Online, actually. But they are doing some virtual meetings to talk about that. But this is kind of what I don't know that it's set in stone yet, but this is kind of what we're thinking. So instead of doing those, you can do a room design board, which is like a tri-fold board, display board, and you select a room in your house or an imaginary future home to design, and you create a basic floor plan showing wall, furniture, fixtures, cabinets, etc. And then you have to explain your design, no more than one page. And there's a few other things that you have to do on that. So that's one way you can do that. The thing that I'm really kind of excited about, because I could see us doing some of this in maybe a day camp or a workshop, is like the 2 collages or a diorama on a design board. So this is where you design 2 imaginary interior rooms with identical dimensions and features, and you're supposed to create a feeling or mood for one of the rooms and the opposite feeling or mood for the other room. So kind of how they explained that was maybe, one would be happy and the other room would be sad. And I could see us having a lot of fun. I personally think that could be a lot of fun, doing collages and designing rooms using, maybe some cooler colors and, kind of thinking about that feeling or mood. The other thing they're doing is they're doing marble mazes or enclosures. And this is where you create a space where a marble will move through a sequence of rooms or space to basically move. And you can there's a couple different things they're going to do for that. But the one thing I would have to say, they're in the newsletter as well, but they are doing a virtual project meetings for 4-H youth and parents on Wednesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. They will record these. So if you can't make it, or if your kids that are in this project can't make it, they will record that. And then they're also doing one on March 12th at 7. They also are going to have some things at K-State's open house on April 12th. So if you're interested in that and want to go up there, you can do the interior architecture department, and they will be available to help 4-Hers get started with the construction of our marble maze during that time. And then they're hoping to do a Discovery Days class with it as well. So we'll be getting more information on this. Like I said, I could see us doing some of the collage or the marble maze at some of our workshops too, because we kind of are doing some of those things with our STEM programming anyway in our district. So kind of be looking for some of those. But if you have someone interested in interior design and architecture, I wanted to get this out as quick as possible so that you kind of had an idea. That I'm not saying that you can't exhibit those. We probably will leave the exhibit of the items in case somebody's already done their item for the year at the county fair, but the state fair, they would not be eligible for state fair in this year. And these are the things that would be eligible for state fair. So any questions on that? Okay, moving on. Livestock requirements. Hopefully you all have the MDC 4-H policy guide, and they do have all your livestock requirements. I think it's page 3 or 4 of that guide. One of the things I just want to say is that market steers and market heifers have to be tagged by March 23rd for Miami County Fair and by March 7th for the Linn County Fair. So weigh-in and tagging is March 23rd from 5:30 to 7 for Miami County, and from March 7th from 6 to 7 in Linn County. Commercial heifers must have a 4-H tag for Miami County by May 4th. So you can bring them in on the tagging date, which is preferred for the steers and heifers if you need a tag, or if not. The other thing is we have YQCA trainings coming up. Our first ones will be here in March. And so I know there's Paola trainings March 18th at 10 and 18th at 2. And then we go into April. And I think, I can't see on my thing, but I believe there it is. The other training, March 26th at 6 is Mound City, one of Mound Cities. So YQCA is the Youth Quality Care of Animals training, and it is a requirement that all exhibitors in market and breeding livestock, beef, sheep, meat, goats, and swine complete their YQCA trainings each year. So you can do it online, or you can attend one of the following in-person trainings. So, okay. And like I said, our other deadlines, our registration papers must be in the exhibitor's name by June 15th for any registered animal or breeding animals. And that's in both counties. Linn County does, it can be immediate family member's name as well. Our spring weigh-in and tagging is going to be for Miami County May 4th. From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's May 23rd for Linn County from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So, and if you have any questions on that, yeah, we'll do that. You can refer to that or call our office, and we'll call either office, and we'll get you through that. So, animal projects. So, horse. There is a new horse identification certificate, and it is due by June 1st. So if you have any family members who are in the horse project, make sure that they know that those certificates have to be on the new form, and they have to be in by June 1st. So, and we do require the 4-H equine webinar horse safety quiz to show at the Miami County Fair. I don't know if Linn County does Linn County do that? Is that just a typo, or did we copy it on accident? So, if you're in Linn County,
We've had to do it before.
okay. I thought you did, but then I see that it said Miami County, so I wasn't positive. Okay, so I think that's for either county fair. If you have questions in Linn County, be sure and talk to Abby. There are new dog show rule updated. So January 2023, if you need that. We do have practices in both counties. So if you're looking in the dog project, you will need to have that. You can go to practices. We just have rabbits that have to be owned by July 1st and pre-entered. And we do not have to do pulmonary typhoid testing until July of 2026. So you don't have to worry about for poultry, pigeons, or doves. We don't have to do the testing until next year. Any questions on that? I know some of that doesn't really apply to you, but I wanted you to be aware of it because sometimes members are in those projects and maybe have questions, and maybe you aren't familiar with those projects. Okay. All right, so we have 3 people who are 3 volunteers who are through volunteer screening, I believe, or close to being through volunteer screening if they're not quite, that have taken over livestock judging somewhat. They are doing the first Monday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Paola, in Paola at the Elliott Insurance office. So if you have any questions, I think it's in the newsletter, their contact information, and it is Chance Hager, Kevin Hightower, and Quentin Ford who have stepped up to be our livestock coaches. And I do think Melissa Burtz is still doing some of the older kids and maybe working with them a little bit. I'm not sure how that's all working yet, but That's kind of what's happening. And I wanted you to be aware of that because I know we have some people who maybe were interested in it. If for some reason you can't come on the first Monday, because I know some of you have club meetings there, I would get in contact with one of those individuals and just let them know you're interested and maybe they can work something out. Okay, as far as implement weather policy, this is on our website under policies, but the implement weather policy that we've always had for the Marais district is basically being if school is called off, we call off 4-H events. Now, I don't call it off necessarily for like when sometimes we get wind chills and schools call off, but I kind of figure 4-H events, you're not really standing outside. It's people, you're with parents driving to and from. And I leave that kind of to the parents about the wind chill thing. So I don't always do that. And then sometimes I will cancel meetings. Like I think everyone was in school there the first week of January on Thursday, almost everyone. But I canceled Clover Buds that night because there was a snowstorm supposed to come in that evening. So you've got to kind of play it by ear. Your club can have their own kind of policy, but I would encourage all of you to think about, I guess I'm always more cautious, I think, than I need to be on this. I would rather cancel something than have someone hurt. So, and most of the time we can make it up or we can go on. It's nothing that has to be done right then and there. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that you might want to think about that and make sure that you have it somewhere wrote down, let your club members know kind of what your policy is too. I know I put stuff out on Facebook and email and you can do it however you want because I know some of you are maybe have group meeting text chats for your club and that. But just to kind of think about that, hopefully we won't, knock on wood, hopefully we won't have any more of those type of days here in the next couple months. But just to kind of think about it and so you have it in writing and can pass it on to the next leader and that type of thing too. And that way you're not going, oh, I don't know what to do. If something does happen and maybe it starts snowing, it comes in after school or something like that, and you're not sure what to do. So, or you're doing it on a Sunday or a day when the school's already out, which happened to us a little bit too. Okay. Our next club leader training is going to be, or leader training is going to be April 30th. 7 p.m. via Zoom, and I will send out the links to you on that. And I guess with that, are there any questions, issues, anything that we need to talk about?
Carla,
Yes.
for presentation days, do we have the room assignments for the clubs to monitor rooms already, or do we need to sign up for that as well?
No, I think that I'm not positive how we'll do that. We might just assign them with no more rooms than we have. So they will be coming out, or you'll be signing up for them. We haven't really talked about that one, so I will put it on my to-do list. But yeah, I'll have to let you know. But if it is a sign up, it'll come out with the sign up for times on Monday.
Yes, thanks. Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Good question. Thank you. Sometimes I forget things. So any other questions or things we need to discuss? Okay. Well, thank you all for all that you do for the Marais District 4-H program. I appreciate it. As you know, if you have any questions or if you need any support, things happen, just let me know. Or you can contact Tracy or Kendra or Julie or Abby. Any of us, we're here to support you. as volunteers in our program, and I do really appreciate all that you do for our program. So, and good luck keep getting those sparks, developing those sparks in our 4-H members, because I know it'll be great, and I know you guys can do it. So, with that, I will see you in probably later. So, thank you all.
Thank
Thanks, Carla.
Yeah. Thanks, Carla. Bye.
Thank you.